Hi everyone, it's Karnik, Star Wars Armada Explained. Thanks for joining me. We're going to be looking at an officer card. We're going to be looking at Emperor Palpatine, the officer card, not the commander. I've already reviewed the commander. So the officer version, if you look in the bottom left-hand corner of the card, you'll see the officer icon. That's where you know he equips to. He is Imperial only, which you can see there next to his point cost, which is only 3 points. Now, in front of his name, you're going to see a little dot or bullet point. It signifies he is unique. You can only have one Emperor Palpatine in your fleet. So you can either bring the officer or the commander, but not both. You know, he doesn't have clone. Well, technically, he doesn't have clones in the game, but you know, Star Wars theorists will books, whatever. In terms of Star Wars Armada, you can only have one. There's no more than one Emperor Palpatine. So for Emperor Palpatine, he's actually really straightforward. His card reads, when an enemy ship or unique squadron declares you as the target of an attack, it must spend one of its defensive tokens if able. So, Emperor Palpatine pretty much is I have foreseen it. You know, he's foreseen everything. He knows you're going to attack him because you hate him. And in order to accomplish that, you have to spend a defensive token. And the reason why I keep saying the word spend is because there's a very unique property associated with that. And later on, I'll show how some interesting things can come about. Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen. So for the Emperor, again, very straightforward. Bring up the attack pool. So we're going to say he's equipped to the Super Star Destroyer. And this ISD2 is like, hey, I want to shoot this Super Star Destroyer. Or Stupid Star Destroyer, you know, whatever you prefer your term is. So remember, it is when an enemy ship or unique squadron declares you as the target of attack. So it's before you even pick up the dice and roll the dice pool. Emperor Palpatine, that's when he's triggered. It's, okay, you're attacking me, spend a token. So this ISD2 is like, okay, well, I will spend my contain token. So now I am eligible to conduct this attack. Although, to make sure I'm stating clearly, it's only if you have a defensive token to spend. If you don't, then you don't worry about it. You make the attack regardless, you know, for any ship or any squadron. It's just that if you have a token, gotta spend one. So you see there that all the tokens were in the readied state. He spent his contain, which moved it from the ready to green side to the exhausted side. He now rolls his attack pool at the front. We'll say it's an IC2 for red, for blue. You know, boom, boom, pow, pow, zap, zap. Now you can see here he's got this SSD double arc. You know, it's like, oh, I want to attack you again. It's like, all right, spend another token. Well, I guess I will now spend my exhaust this redirect, and now I can, you know, shoot again. Great, you know. So you see there that he had to spend 2 of his tokens, all from the readied side, and flip them to the exhausted side. What happens if he chose the same token twice? So instead of choosing a different token, what happens if he's like, you know what, I'm going to do my contain again? Well, the contain will now then be discarded. The contain is now taken. You toss it away forever, because Emperor Palpatine again spends defense tokens. He does not exhaust them. Spends them. Meaning if they're in the ready state and they get spent, they go to the exhausted state. If they're in the exhausted state and they get spent, they're gone. They don't come back unless you've got cards or commanders that otherwise can bring those defensive tokens back. And again, this is not only for ships. If Merrick Stool pops up and is like, hey, I want to shoot you, it's like, all right, spend a defense token. You know, he's got to spend one of his braces if he can. You know, if he's got one to spend. Maybe if he's already been shot at or taken some damage, you know, you might have to then also discard one of those defense tokens. That's kind of what is great about Emperor Palpatine, is you slap him on, you know, like a big ship or a large ship, a huge ship or a large ship, something that somebody wants to shoot at, and it's like, okay, now you got to spend defensive tokens. And a lot of you may already be thinking, well, like, boy, that sounds like that really pairs really well with Admiral Salome. He is excellent with Admiral Salome. Because her ability is when your squadrons are attacking, they can spend defense tokens as well. So it does really go very well as you have another ship that, they want to shoot at. And in order for them to accomplish that, they gotta, sacrifice potentially tokens that Salone can capitalize on. Also pairs extremely well with Avenger. And I've run an ISD2 combo with Avenger and Palpatine. It's like, okay, I may not be first player, but guess what? You shoot me, you're exhausting tokens, and now when I punch back, you can't, use those tokens because I'm going to Avenger them. A super fun combination I have had, and I have caught a few opponents off there. I wouldn't qualify this build as good, but man, I do cackle like a crazy person whenever I get a chance to get it off. Is I specifically bid to go first with the Super Star Destroyer, and for the first time ever, I have found a use for the Overload Pulse card. It is not totally trash with this build. It's still not very good, but it's so much fun. So Overload Pulse is when you attack your opponent if you've got a blue critical showing, and they don't cancel or get rid of it or don't have damage control officer. When you trigger that ability, you exhaust all the defender's defense tokens. So they all go from green. They all flip to the readied side. Of course, they can still spend, their tokens. It only just exhausts. It does not spend defense tokens. So then you move and you've done your thing, and now they want to have to attack you. Well, guess what? In order for them to now attack you, they now have to spend their defense tokens before they even roll their attack pool. They got to take a token and then they got to ditch it. Like for example, this ISD2. If I had zapped it with that Overload Pulse, and all of its defense tokens got switched from readied to exhausted, as I'm doing here right now. Okay, it's like, okay, well, you've got me double arc. Well, okay, go ahead and shoot me. Which 2 tokens are you going to give up for it? I had an opponent fly up with like a Kuat. He pows me out, with the front arc, and he's like, oh, I'm going to ditch this contain token. No problem. I'm like, cool. He's like, okay, now I'm going to attack you with my side arc. I'm like, okay, which token are you going to get rid of? He's all like, wait, I have to get rid of one of my redirects or my brace. I'm like, yep. He's all like, never mind. I'm not going to attack you. It's the first time I've ever had someone decline to attack me because they didn't want to lose a defensive token. And yeah, I want to make sure I'm kind of pointing out some of these intricacies that you can have with this going on. I also have a build where with Salone, something that came to Dennis's world list, where you have center core. I love to throw Palpatine on it. Because it's like, cool, you want to get rid of my center core, it means you have to shoot it, which means you're spending defense tokens, which then my fighters can capitalize on. Obviously somebody who's got, some contained tokens, that's not going to be a big deal. But the end of the day is when I go up to spend tokens, that's Palpatine is really going to, I think, you'll see in a lot more lists in the future. I think he's really fun. He's really creative and unique. So again, to recap, whenever anyone wants to attack your ship that has Emperor Palpatine equipped on it, the officer variant, if they have a defense token, they must spend a defense token, again, if able. So I'm not aware of like any crazy rule interactions, no things being broken or anything like that, depending on what your definition of broken is. Just a good old fun card. Of course, if you think I missed anything or you have any questions about something, please be sure to point it out. Let me know. I appreciate you guys watching. Like always, I'll catch you next time.